Hey y'all,
Hey everybody, and welcome to this episode of
Smithandwaker.
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 Smithandwaker. She's losing it. It's been a while. We missed you all. And so we're here to recap the 2022 season.
Yes, we are. We had to the reason we haven't released an episode yet is because we were trying to get all the way through 2022 before we brought you. It's an excuse. I'm just making excuses. No, last season was full. We did a lot in 2022. It was definitely a growth year in Minnesota for women coming out and riding together in groups. I don't want to say it was a growth year for women riders because we've always been here. We just don't always ride with other women. But this year was there was a lot going on. I'm going to slide our little notepad over here so that we can. All right, little technical difficulty there. Welcome back. And we're back. So we were talking about all the stuff we did this year, all the miles we put on.
Yeah, lots of miles this year.
Yeah.
How many did we put on?
You said, so you got your new bike in January of last year.
Yep.
What do you have like?
I think around 17K, I would say, 17,000.
Yeah, so about 17,000, because there's not many places that you went that I didn't go.
Right. Yeah.
And that I went that you didn't go.
Yep.
So
yes, fair enough.
I'm going to piggyback off of that. So we started out the season last year. So we try to stay engaged all year so that we can keep people engaged. And so so we do things in the off season, like last year in January we did a gallery on the go, which is where we all got together and we did a painting event.
Motorcycles.
Yes, motorcycles. It's our little plaque said "Gone Riding." Thank you, Jolene, for coming all the way from North Dakota. Didn't she come from, or South Dakota? North Dakota, to do that with us in the Twin Cities, Minnesota. And it was snowing that weekend.
Yes,
so that was a big one. And then Galentine's was in February of our first annual Galentine's. Allison Cassidy puts that on for the group. That was fun. That was a lot of fun. Well, there were maybe 50 some odd women there.
Yeah,
last year. This year.
Wait till we tell you next season about this February and the Galentine's.
Whoa! Big difference. We do have the machine shed. Big props to them over in Lake Elmo. They take really good care of us. So a little plug there for Machine Shed. They have a great brunch, and their cheesy hash browns are delicious.
Yeah.
What other events did we do in the off season? So we started kind of picking up in April. Then we had Friendsgiving in November.
Yep.
You host.
That was a big one. Yep. We had a big turnout.
Yeah.
Again, tons of food. As always.
Too much.
But the weather hung out good for us, so we were able to get out and get our picture taken. I think we'll probably
drop it.
You'll drop the picture in.
Drop them in, yeah. And then Chickmas.
Yeah, this was our first annual Chickmas.
Yeah, thank you, Tina, for hosting that. She's very festive. Her home was beautiful.
Yeah.
We did a white elephant game. That was fun.
That was fun.
Yeah.
I won one thing and I got it stolen from me, and then I went to leave and I got my original back.
Yeah, somebody must love you. Oh, Lisa. Yeah, I got a mouse ball, a ball that a mouse could chase. Not a mouse, a cat. That a cat could chase. I don't have a cat. So that was fun.
That was nice.
Yes.
That's what white elephant gifts are all about.
Yes, absolutely. And of course, as if you've been following us for any length of time, you know that Monica and I are big proponents of continuing education with respect to riding and honing your skills and challenging yourself beyond your comfort zone. I know we've talked about a lot how staying in your comfort zone when you're riding is don't let anybody push you out. No, we're not necessarily agreeable to that statement. How are you going to grow if you're not being pushed to some extent? So we had a fair amount of continuing education this year, didn't we?
Yes, we did. We had tons of classes that we did. So I was super nervous about the advanced riding class. And was not as difficult as I thought it would be. Some of it I'll attribute to the fact that my skills have gotten better. Some of it was just in my head. She rocked it.
I did. We're gonna have what do we call it earlier? We're gonna drop some humility for a minute. I'm not gonna be humble. I kicked ass on the Iron Cross. Like, if you don't know what the Iron Cross is, maybe we'll drop in a little thing, but it's like a clover, and it's like 3 U-turns in a tight row in succession, and then we also did this thing called the keyhole, where you enter this line, and then you do a tight circle, and then you just keep doing the circle over and over. But there were lots of fun, tight, challenging moves like that we did. They did a good job of protecting our bikes. Like we took our saddlebags off and
taped up our fairings.
And our vulnerable bits of our bikes. But it starts with figure 8, which is different than the intermediate class. So the intermediate class, I don't even remember how that one starts. I think we just rode in circles. That's how that starts.
Oh, yeah.
And we end in a figure 8.
Yeah.
The advanced class, we start in a figure 8, we pull it in tighter and tighter, and then we go on to the more challenging exercises.
And it was difficult. There were some people that were struggling, but they stuck with it and ended up better riders because of
Absolutely.
it.
So. Absolutely. It was so much fun. Yes, we are doing one of those this year. We're still trying to get the intermediate class on the books for those of you that are interested in that, because it's a great way to start the season in a cold place like where we live.
Well, yeah, and those skills are nice to have refreshed again every year.
Absolutely. So, and then of course we did the accident scene management and the road guard class. So we are certified road guards. Monica and I are
in Minnesota.
In Minnesota, yes, because not every state recognizes that.
So now I can't get pulled over.
Oh, you can
for stopping traffic anymore if I do it right.
You can.
I did well.
Just stay away from golf cart police officers. Let's do that.
I got pulled over by a police officer in a golf cart.
That was last year, though. Yeah. That's old news. It's old news.
Yeah.
Then, of course, we have our dinner rides that we do every month.
Yeah, those are fun.
Those are fun.
Yeah, I think one of the things we'll talk about in a little while is a survey that we did for the end to kind of recap the season and how we always try to get better. And one of the things that came up as feedback in the survey was having a nice variety of places and a nice variety of days to do those rides on, not always the same day. So the people that can't make it on Tuesday can make it on Wednesday, or Wednesday and Thursday, whatever that is. So we tried to do that a little bit this past season. We're going to try to do some more of that or do it better this season.
Right.
That's great that feedback came in, and it was timely, and it was exactly what we were planning on doing. So.
Right. Now, we also kind of, I don't know, for those of you who haven't planned rides like this before, you may not understand exactly the kind of the thought process that goes into it, and everybody does it differently. So Monica and I try to spread ourselves out a little bit, and last year we did like a grid, and we picked a few places, north, south, east, and west of the cities that, well, within the cities, but in those general directions that we could choose from. What we weren't as mindful as we should have been about was the sunset. So there were a few rides that we were a little ambitious about, that we set kind of far out on days where the sun was not as forgiving. And so that was definitely a learning opportunity for both of us, that was something that we need to be mindful of. So
and we were careful of that in our planning this year. We definitely said early in the season we're going further out. Later in the season we're
going to start pulling it in.
Pull it in, yeah.
Yeah, so thank you for your grace as we continue to work through some of the learning opportunities that were given. There are no mistakes. There are only learning opportunities. Only opportunities to learn. So then, what was the one fun that we did? We did in October. People were talking about how they didn't always want dinner rides, so we did
Oh, yeah. So we thought, you know what, let's mix it up a little bit. Let's do something earlier. It was, I think it kind of started out called a breakfast ride, but it kind of became a brunchy ride, and we hung around long enough for it to be called a lunch ride.
Yeah.
But that was fun. We got a whole different group of people, a whole slew of new folks that have never joined us before. So that was super fun, and to see all the folks gather in the parking lot together and share stories and dance, and it was really a good time.
It was, and something I really enjoyed about that is it's hard, and a lot of times in large groups of any people, not just women, people get comfortable with who they're friends with and who they hang out with. And whenever we come together as a big group, what I really enjoy is that we all just kind of meld together for those moments that we're together. And then we do all kind of go off and do our own thing, because we do ride with who we wouldn't with, who we're comfortable with. And some of us do take chances and ride with new people, and that's great. You are so brave, and I commend every one of you who does that, who come to an event brand new and not knowing anyone's intimidating, and you're so brave for that, and I hope that you recognize that quality in yourself when you do that. But seeing everybody come together, and we were all having fun and getting acquainted with new people and meeting new people, and then everybody got together and went and rode afterwards, and we all kind of had an opportunity to go in whichever direction we needed to. So that was really awesome. That was a fun experience. So
and maybe to go back to the survey a little bit, so I'll throw some tidbits of the survey in as we're going through. So one of the comments that we got was that that this person, and again, this was an anonymous survey, so we have no idea who said this. It truly was anonymous, which is the best way to do it. Came and said that she didn't necessarily always feel that way. So that was one person who had that experience. So if you happen to be listening to this message, come and talk to us so that we can figure out what went on that day. But our ultimate goal is that everybody, regardless, feels comfortable with us. So we try really hard. I mean, click kind of has a bad connotation. Being cliquey does. If you're cliquey because you know people, I'm good with it. Like you and I know each other, we hang out, we could be called a clique, right? But if we exclude people because of it, then it's a bad thing.
Right.
So I would say the clique, I don't want to give a big downer on the whole cliquey thing, but if you're not feeling like you're included, then we need to know about
Definitely. If you feel like you can't walk up into a conversation and join in just because the people involved in the conversation may know each other and you may not, that's something that we always want to try to avoid. If you ever see Monica and I chatting and you want to come up and talk to us, please don't feel like you're going to be interrupting.
Oh gosh, no.
Not that we're anybody
Sometimes
special.
I'm dying and not talking. No,
yeah, sometimes I get a little windy and I just talk about random things, and I squirrel, and then I alpaca, and then there I go. So, speaking of squirreling, that's kind of one. We had an opportunity to connect with some other groups this year, which was a lot of fun. Triple B's over in Wisconsin. Charlie does a group over there for all you Wisconsin ladies that are looking for some fun. They do dinner rides every week, which is awesome. And they have a Facebook page. It's TRIPLE triple and then B. So we met up with them in June. That was a lot of fun. What was another?
That was fun because again we saw people we didn't know. Some people we did know, and some people we didn't know. So now we start to cross-pollinate.
Yeah, well,
so it's good.
It's networking, just all the opportunity,
and it gives people other chances to go ride on. Maybe if we're having a time that doesn't work for you, maybe you can join a different group and go ride, because it's all about riding.
Right, just getting people out there to meet people.
Right.
And then something fun in Minnesota that happened this year, and I know some of you that are watching are not from Minnesota, so maybe it'll inspire you to put something like this together for your area. A gentleman by the name of Andy R. I'm not going to try to say his last name because it looks French, and I am not. He organized something called the Grand Tour of Minnesota.
The Grand Tour.
The Grand Tour. The Grande Tour of Minnesota. I don't know what that was. Any hooter. And he picked 20 places around the state in various areas, like not Twin Cities, like you had to travel to get to some of them, to inspire people to go ride. And you take a picture with your bike at that destination, and then you submit it. And if you did all 20 of them, then you gotta
hold your book in your hand.
Hold your book in your hand because you get a number. Then at the end of the season, I think he did patches or stickers or something. But it was just a great way to create a community of riding, and it was co-ed, and allow people to get out. And some people rode together. Many people found new people to ride with and new destinations that they never would have thought to go to. And he's doing it again this year. So if you're watching this and you're looking for an opportunity to find some destinations for 2023 to ride to, Grand Tour of Minnesota. He's on Facebook. Registration starts March 1st, and the tour goes from May 1st to October 31st of this year. So he's got some great new destinations for Minnesota for that.
Yeah, and there's no pressure.
No competition. It's just
it's not who does it first or who does it second, or nobody cares. Yeah. But it gives you the list. It gives you some goals to accomplish for the riding season, with or without other people, what have you. So it's cool.
Right. It's a lot of fun.
I didn't do all of them, but the ones I did do, I enjoyed. So
right. I did not realize. I mean, I think I knew about it, but I didn't ever think I'd actually go to the biggest ball of twine in the United States is actually in Minnesota. So that was fun to ride to. It's kind of a dusty big ball of yarn, but it was still kind of fun to say.
It's all encased.
Yeah, it's all encased. Absolutely. I am personally, with Monica's help, working on a mural tour of the Twin Cities that we're going to put together. So more on that to come, because we like our murals. So, and then from there, we had some pretty fun overnight rides that we did.
We did. We had a couple short overnight ones.
Yeah.
Like just overnight.
Just one night, and then weekend rides.
Where did we go for our Don't You Know road show? To Fargo?
Oh, yeah, we went to Fargo. So, I just sounded so Minnesotan just then. So, I have this obsession with Johnny Carino's Italian restaurant, and they have them in Oklahoma, and they have this plate that they bring out to you with roasted garlic and olive oil and herbs and this delicious warm bread that you can dip in it, and then you can crunch the garlic really. Oh, God, it's so delicious. I found that there was a Johnny Carino's in Fargo. So, well, what better way to go than with my friends than to do an overnight ride to Fargo, right? So that's what we did. We did an overnight road. I called between Johnny us. We called it the garlic ride. Mm-hmm.
But Carino's was cool.
Yeah.
It was good.
It was good.
But what you planned other than that?
Oh, so that's how it started. Oh. Yeah. So Fargo is mural rich. Like, they have some amazing murals down there. Is that what you're referring to?
Yeah.
And so we were talking about it, and getting out there was fun. Getting home was fine because we went through Lake Mille Lacs. Thank you. I was really trying to say it right that time. I promise you I was. But being out there, once we got out there, the hotel was awesome. It had a big pool, and so we, there a few of the women did some fun interpretive dance in the pool. But we created
in the pool, in the bar.
In the bar, yeah. Well, the bar was Bayfield.
Oh yeah,
Bayfield or Bayport or Bay.
Got them all mixed up.
South Shore. No, it all starts to run together at this point. That's why we have a list. Where was I going with that?
Interpretive dance. We did funny things, and what did you arrange
Fargo. So it would have been kind of hard once we got out there to lead a ride, which is what we typically try to do. So instead, Monica and I thought it would be fun to do a mural scavenger hunt. So we put together a list of all the murals out in Fargo, and then everybody went out on their own in little groups and found them and took pictures with them, which was a great opportunity for people to get pictures of their bike and with their bike too, which was awesome. And by the way, I'm going to hold some of you women accountable that were there, because I told you to get me a count for the number of murals that you got pictures with so that they could get a gift card for whoever had the most. And not a single one of you sent me your number. I am not counting those pictures. You have got me twisted if you think I'm going to go... Anyway.
So there. But I will say, the beauty of that weekend, too, was there were a few people that chose not to do any of that.
Right, and that's fine.
It was fun for us to go up. We broke bread together. We hung out together. We went and played bingo together. Was that bingo?
Yes, it was bingo.
We went and played bingo together. And if you chose to do this, you chose to do it. If you didn't, you didn't. It was no pressure.
No, it was a lot of fun, though. It was one of my more favorite trips that we did. They're all my favorite, though. There were aspects of...
Anyway, I don't have any favorites anymore.
It's hard.
They're just all riding.
Yeah.
I don't mean just, but they're all... Yeah. They all have their good points. So.
Well, speaking of Bayfield, we did the South Shore in July.
Yeah.
Well, there was about 25 of us that went up there.
Yes, there was.
Yeah, we stayed in a casino, which I have found that if we're going to travel in a large group like that, a casino is always a great place to stay, because there's restaurants, there's activities, there's pools, there's all kinds of things for us to do.
Activities.
Yes, there were activities. Karaoke, that was fun.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. We're not going to talk about that, are we?
Nope.
Okay, good. So
just know that it happened.
It happened. And for those of you that aren't familiar with that area, Madeline Island is up in that area. And if you've never taken your motorcycle on a ferry, it's a lot of fun, actually. It was an adventure.
It was.
So
how big is the island?
I want to say it's like 3 miles, like as the crow flies across, whatever. I managed to get lost. Whatever.
I'm so glad I'm not the only one that gets lost.
We led a ride around the island, and we went to a park. There was a park out there. Oh, we jumped in the water fully clothed.
Oh, yes, we did.
Yes, we did.
We did.
We did a it was hot, though, so it didn't feel... We took our boots.
That day was great.
Yeah, played with crawdads, and It was like we were kids again. That was a lot of fun.
That was a good time.
Yeah, it was a good time. And then came back to the hotel, and yeah, that was a good trip. Great trip. Everybody got pictures standing on their seats.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
that was fun.
And then the last of the group rides that we'll talk about, I suppose, is Door County, Fall Weekend Door County. That was an amazing trip.
It was.
We left here, what was it, 40 degrees, sleeting.
We were warm.
We were warm. Move over, we were warm.
I can't even come up with that.
We were more than warm.
We were moving down the road. Because we were so cold.
We were so cold.
Like frozen side of beef.
Frozen side of beef, almost, yes. Yep. Those hoofs were almost frozen to the handlebars. I'll drop the picture in now so you understand what, so we don't sound crazy. There were 25 of us, 26 something, 27. Door County is beautiful. Right on Lake Michigan. We had a beautiful house right on Lake Michigan. Got out there. We stopped at Doc's Harley-Davidson on the way out there. They have a petting zoo. There were kangaroos and camels, and the kangaroos were obscene. They're not child friendly. That's all I'm going to say about that.
If you've never been to Doc's, though, it's pretty fun.
It's pretty fun. They have a restaurant. We had lunch there. They have an antique shop. I mean, there's just too much out there. Not too much, but there's a lot out there to see. It's great. Got out there that night. A few of us the next morning went and did the polar plunge in Lake Michigan because apparently that's what we do.
Apparently. Some were much better at it than others. It was cold.
It was very cold. But it was exhilarating. Wasn't it, Chona?
Good job, Chona.
Yeah, and who else did it? Christy did it too,
right? Oh yeah, Christy. Mm-hmm. Bless her husband's heart.
Yeah.
So we are blessed that we haven't had a lot of breakdowns happen on the road. Knock on wood. But Tanya had a mishap with her fuel line, and we couldn't get it repaired, and so Christy's husband, one of the gals that was with us, drove all the way up and picked up both of the bikes and took them back again. His wife and Tanya's.
Christy had stayed with Tanya because we had to get on the road Sunday.
Yeah, that was a blessing for sure. So thank you to Christy's husband.
Very much so. And we had a few batteries that it was so cold that a few of the batteries we had to make sure that we got those jumped the next day. So, but there is a road in Door County. It's 42, I think, is the name of the road, and it was purposefully designed like an S. And I'll drop in maybe a video or two of us on it, but we rode all the way from, because we stayed in Algoma, I think is the name of the town that we stayed in, which is in the kind of southern part of Door County, and then we rode all the way up into where the very tip of where this road was, and then Monica and I worked together to get videos of everybody that was coming down that road, so everybody kind of had a video of them riding on this road, because it's pretty famous. Beautiful. The fall, the leaves were turning. I mean, it was probably end of peak season up there, but it was incredible. And it was kind of warm that day too, so it wasn't
beautiful. The weather was gorgeous.
Yeah. Some people chose not to ride that day, which was understandable because coming up it was pretty frigid, and then going back it was not as frigid, but it was still pretty chill. But what else? What did I learn on that trip? I learned that whenever we are going on long weekend trips, sometimes it is not necessary to stop and have a meal at a restaurant. Sometimes gas station food, because Quick Trip is awesome. They have a lot of options.
Yep, they do.
So as long as we're mindful about our fuel stops, we can plan to stop in a place like Quick Trip, and we can eat there, and we don't have to spend a lot of time in a restaurant. So going forward,
and we discovered that we always have like a post-ride
recap.
Yeah. And that topic came up for us, but it also came up in our survey too. So
know that is something that we've noted, and thank you for helping us grow in that way too, because
That's how you get better.
That's how you get better. And then just a few things we did.
We had some fun.
We did.
Which one do you want to start with?
Tennessee, North Carolina. We did a May.
Hi, Kim.
Hi, Kim.
That was fun. So Molly and Kim and I headed down there. I got to choose, and actually it wouldn't have been my choice again if I had to do it again. But we ended up having a really good time down there. The Airbnb was amazing. The view from it was amazing. We spent a lot of time laughing and joking and getting lost.
We didn't. No, hold on. I'm gonna daisy you on that.
Didn't she just say she got lost on the 3 Mile Island?
But I didn't. But you say it in a way like it's bad. I say it in a way like it's an adventure. Like,
well, so I was trying really hard to keep us from being lost.
Yeah,
and I kept getting us deeper into being lost because I didn't know which way I really wanted to go. But here's what.
Oh, it was the most insanely funny thing ever.
Hilarious.
Oh my God, it was hilarious.
We're going up this dirt road, up this road, and it just doesn't stop, and it's not bringing me back around again, and I'm like beside myself because I do not like to get people lost. And the last thing I want to do is get lost on a dirt road where we have to make maneuvers. So we get to a point where I stop and I'm like, damn it, I can't go any further. And there's a road going that way, and a road going that way, and a road going that way, and 15 other roads, it felt like, around me, all going different directions, and I don't even know which way I'm going to go. I have no idea.
She just stops.
And I'm like, that's it, I'm done. I'm stopping right here until I can get my head together.
I'm not leaving.
And I get bothered by that. And sure shit, I look in my mirror, and this one's back there cracking up.
I was crying. I was laughing so hard.
Cracking up. It's the only thing that stopped me from just throwing in the towel at that point and letting the bike fall over and be done.
Like when you're a kid and you get pissed off and you just like throw it in the ground. It's like, I'm done. Yeah.
It was the only thing. I'm like, all right, she's not mad. Kim's not mad. We're good. I shed my tears when I got back because I just don't like to disappoint people like that. But apparently it wasn't a disappointment.
No, it was one of the highlights of the trip for me because it was like we come up on, and it's like this. If you can imagine a stage in the middle of a road with all of these different branches off of it for which ways to go, and none of them are appealing because they're all gravel, they're all loose gravel. One is straight up, one is straight down, and one is a windy path that we couldn't really see where it was going, and then just a turnaround. So clearly the responsible choice for us, because we're in the middle of the near, was just to turn around because we didn't know where we were at, and we didn't have any internet, we didn't have any no GPS. Nothing. So it was an adventure. It was. Oh God, it was so freaking hilarious. And we were all hungry. Oh, it was so funny. And we were hangry too, so that was the other thing. We were looking for a place to eat.
We just wanted to eat.
Yeah, we were like, God, can we just, like, if we could eat, we could think more clearly. So we got back on the main road, and I think you still led us there, didn't you? I don't remember.
I don't know.
We
ended up back in a good place because we're here.
We found a nice little burger joint that we stopped and ate, and then my allergies started kicking in, and my eyes swelled shut. Oh, that was a day.
That was in bad shape that day.
Yeah, that was funny though. I had wet paper towels over my eyes. Oh God.
But that was a week full of technical riding.
Very technical.
So I learned a ton this time around.
Oh, yeah.
I went down. So the last time I was down in that area was many years ago when I was a really new rider. So what I thought was difficult wasn't as difficult as I thought it was going to be when I went back again. But now knowing what I know and then practicing some of the skills that Kim actually talked me through. Made it better.
Why don't you share some of those things?
So, let's see. Downshift. Turns out that I thought you could go through those curves in 6th, 5th gear. And as long as I just stayed on my brake, I'd be good. Turns out that's not the best way to ride it. So when I dropped my gears down into 3rd gear, oh my God, what a game changer. It was amazing.
And sometimes even 2nd gear.
Yeah. I was not shy to go to 2nd gear. What I needed to get past was the idea that your engine revs funny. I think we're all conditioned to listen to our engine and upshift as we're going down the road, right? And so because it's getting to an RPM that sounds like it's revving, and so you change gears. But in these cases, on curvy, windy roads like that, not doing that actually saves you a ton.
Yeah,
like, you can actually sit back and enjoy it. There were a few toward the end of my rides where I was actually able to keep my feet up on my highway pegs, and I could actually enjoy going through it. So I don't know that me personally, I don't know that I'd go rushing back there, because I'm not sure that technical riding like that much of it is enjoyable for me. But I know when I come across it now, I can do it.
Yeah, I enjoyed it. I enjoyed all the technical riding, and maybe it's because I hadn't been there before. I found it more technical than Colorado.
I did too.
But I enjoyed both of those trips for different reasons.
Yeah.
If you've never been to Tennessee or North Carolina, waterfalls and beautiful scenery everywhere. We did the Blue Ridge Parkway. We did the Tail of the Dragon. We did. There's a whole list of maps that this guy did where he named them all, and they were just beautiful rides everywhere. The Rattler. That was. Oh yeah,
that was a good one.
That was a good one. I surprised myself on that one.
Yeah, you could. It was fun because I was in the back. Molly was leading, and she got into a really fun groove, and it was fun to watch her go through it. Eventually, you get there. You got into it nice and quick, so you got in and started going right away. Kim was a gimme that was going to happen for Kim.
Yeah.
But it was fun to watch that happen. The beauty of this is, or one of the things the other thing I'll say about this is. We talked earlier in the recording here about people pushing you out of your comfort zone and being leery about that. If you're going to move out of your comfort zone and grow, like we've talked about, do it with somebody you trust.
Oh, absolutely.
So Molly and Kim, both of them, way more skilled in that kind of technical riding, but were super forgiving of me, like needing to take my time and get through it. And then once I got through it, they were really encouraging of what I had done. Then we talked about better ways to do it, so we could just talk through it, and the next time it was easier. So find people that support you through all of that. That's what we try to be for everyone as well. So
yeah. It was a lot of fun.
That was fun.
Yeah. But no, I was just going to say, Hot Springs, North Carolina, not really Hot Springs. The name of the town is Hot Springs. I'm used to like Hot Springs, Arkansas, where there's actual hot springs. Not really hot springs. Unless they were hiding from us. I'll just throw that caveat in there. So just keep that in mind. But it's a beautiful area. Beautiful area.
Yeah, wasn't hot springs. It was hot tubs. Hot tubs.
Yeah. And finally, with respect to our trips, we have decided that going forward we're going to do couples trips with our spouses, because we do so much riding without them through the year. We want to enjoy that time with our partners. So in September, we went to South Dakota. Stefan and I had never been. Monica and Eric had obviously been before, so they were old hat to it, but they had experience with it. You know, I'm just going to say this, and this is probably going to, I'm probably going to get some controversy over this. Sturgis is not that great. I didn't find it special at all. It was just like a town with buildings and a grocery store and a big sign on the hill that said Sturgis. Like,
It's like every other town. It just comes alive during Sturgis week and then dies again after. Or I don't mean dies, but it goes back to normal afterwards.
Yeah, it wasn't. I was more impressed with like Deadwood and what was the other, Keystone, and like, because they're very historic in nature.
Yeah.
So we did Iron Mountain. Iron Mountain was awesome. Needles, awesome. We didn't go to Mount Rushmore, but we did get a picture through if you do a little research on it, I think isn't it Iron Mountain, if you're riding through it, there's like you look through the rock formations and you get a perfect frame of the Mount Rushmore. What else did we do? Crazy Horse.
We did Crazy Horse, yeah.
And
the Airbnb there was fun.
The Airbnb was fun.
Stefan cooked for us.
Yeah.
So we went to the grocery store and got so much food.
Oh my gosh.
And then tried to quickly eat it all before we left. And popsicles just weren't having it.
No. He did ribs. He did steak. So if Stefan ever travels with us, I'm sorry, babe, but it's true. He is very frugal in with his travel monies, and he doesn't like to spend a lot of travel monies on eating out, so he would prefer to cook. And I am all for it.
I was going to say, but I'm not complaining. Nope, not complaining.
He's worked in the restaurant industry, so
those steaks were to die for.
Yeah. So that was our season in 35 minutes that we were trying to do in 30.
That was good.
Mm-hmm.
So
we didn't talk about International Female Ride Day.
Well, yeah, we should. I mean, let's talk about that.
That was a big learning experience for us. It's so much so that we're doing things different this year.
Yes, we are.
What were there, about 60 women on that ride last year?
Yes.
Monica and I, and correct me if I'm wrong, are distance riders. We like to get miles in. We like to see things and experience roads and stop for fuel, ice cream, and food fuel. We're not bar hoppers. So whenever we say we're planning a ride, like you can expect butt in the seat time. Monica planned a beautiful ride for us. Unfortunately, there was some miscommunication, so we had to reverse the route to try to get to our lunch stop.
Yep.
Which we missed by about an hour, so our reservations got canceled, so we had to on the fly pick another place to eat.
Which actually turned out to be awesome.
It did, but we lost a fair number of people, understandably. Yeah, that was...
So we had a lot of people get together, and it was interesting throughout the day.
It was. It was like the ride kept changing. At every stop, it was a little different.
But I will say thank you to the ladies that were there, because they were... I didn't hear any complaints. Of course, people were probably disappointed, that sort of thing. We were too. Mm-hmm. But we didn't hear tons of complaints. We had people really just kind of went with the flow and... tagged along with us.
Well, I think that what people are kind of starting to see is, as we've been planning rides and other people are branching off planning their own rides, they're kind of starting to see and appreciate the fact that there's a lot more to it. So it becomes, sometimes you just have to do things on the fly. So it was a good time, though. International Female Ride Day is a big deal for us here. Monica does a great job of putting together an event.
We do a great job. We have talked about the fact that this is for me, International Female was my very first ever event ever.
That's what started all of this.
So that's why Molly is really gracious about letting me take the lead on that one, and then she always does the other ladies' weekends and long weekends and fall weekends and all the...
Fall weekend is kind of my thing, because that was my big thing. That's how I started the Milwaukee 8.
Yeah. But you do a lot of those other ones in between there, too.
We do. We do. There is no Smithandwaker without Smithandwaker. All right.
Okay.
And without further ado, the final piece de resistance that we're going to talk a little bit about.
Yeah, a little bit. I'm just going to cruise through some kind of interesting stuff that we found out on the survey. So on the Lady Riders of Minnesota Facebook page, we posted an anonymous survey, asked, 7 questions, I think it was, again, just to find out kind of what the makeup of our group is like, what the participation is like, what did we do well, what made you not join us, what did we do well, what did we need to work on, and then anything else. So I'll give you a few tips or a few items around that. So the easy stuff I talked about. Any idea? I'll quiz you.
Okay.
How old is the largest group of respondents? 20s, 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s? 50s. 46% of our 95 people that responded to the survey are in their 50s. 24% are in their 60s. And 25% are in their 40s. So this is a bit of an older crowd, which I love.
Not that we don't welcome everybody, because we do. We just recognize the fact that there are other groups out there that the younger crowd probably relates to better, and that's fine as long as you're relating to somebody and getting out riding. We don't care.
Right. Put the miles on them. Put your butt in the seat. We asked how many of those folks, how many of the respondents attended one of our events. And it was kind of a split, to be honest. We got a nice mix of half the people did and half the people did not. So that led us then to ask the question about if you didn't join us, why not? Number one answer, what do you think it is?
Why not? Distance.
In this case, it said the location didn't work for them.
Okay.
So we talked about the fact that we're going to think things out a little differently this year to make sure that we are spreading out all of the places that we meet, and making sure we do it based on sunset, making sure we're picking the right ones at the right time.
And we talked about, too, if you've already been looking at our schedule, we've already released it, we may revise some of those meetup places. We may actually change to where we meet up at like a gas station instead of always at the dealership here. The dealership is just kind of where we're comfortable.
It's convenient, too.
And it's convenient because there's bathrooms, and there's, if you need to buy something, or you know, whatever, there's refreshments. But keep an eye out for that. We may be revising that on some of them. Yeah,
I think the other thing one of the comments that we got in here too was that this person said that they felt a little uncomfortable because they don't ride a Harley, and they felt uncomfortable coming here. We don't care about that at all.
No, we do not.
You can ride whatever it is that you like to ride, and truth be told, the dealership doesn't care. We never have that issue. That's not a problem.
No. We had a girl riding a Vespa on our ride last year.
Yeah, I mean, we have every bike imaginable on here. I would go into that response here, but it's all over the board. Yeah. And we just have everybody that rides, all kinds. Second most reason that people didn't to join is that their work got in the way. Totally understandable. If you don't have a job, you can't afford this habit of motorcycling, and this habit is expensive.
Yes, it is.
And then the third most popular answer was kind of a tie there was a tie. One didn't know anyone, and the other one was nervous about meeting new people. So it does take a little bravery to come out and join up with folks that you don't know, and we would say take the chance.
Yes, absolutely.
It's super important. What did we do? If you did join us, what things did we do well? By far, the route planning, the safety focus, and the location choices, which is a little bit of a different, the same but opposite for what people complained about as well or thought we could do better. So route planning and safety focus has always been our number one piece. I've learned a ton from Molly about route planning. We were talking the other day that sometimes I'll come up with an idea and then I run it by her, and then she kind of goes into the details around it all. And so we've made a decent team at that. For those of you here in the Twin Cities, or in Minnesota or Western Wisconsin, watch the events coming up too, because Molly's going to teach a class on how to use Google Maps. If you did join us, what do we need to work on? So the two things that, or I guess I would do top three here. The day of the week was one of the things that people complained about or mentioned. I shouldn't say complained, it wasn't really a complaint. But one of the things that we talked about earlier was that we're going to vary the days of the week, so I think we'll address that then. Meeting time, that one can get a little tough because what's convenient for one may not be convenient for the other. I think we do around the 5:30, 5:45 time frame, because if you stop work at 4 or 5, you can still kind of get there if you need to do your thing.
Pre-plan, yeah. Or you can always meet us there.
That's a good point. Yep.
If you can't, if you don't have to meet us where we meet, you can always meet us where we're ending, where our destination is.
Yep.
So.
Yeah, and then there were a number of just general comments that were made, some congratulating us on what we're doing, and to keep doing what we're doing, which we're glad that you guys enjoy it, because we enjoy it as well. And then a few that, if you have suggestions on here, and because this is anonymous, we can't respond back to it to address it with you, but if there were things that you would like us to do differently, that you'd like to reach out to us directly about, we'd encourage you to do that.
Absolutely. No judgment, no hurt feelings. Sure. That's how we grow. We're always looking for ways to improve. In fact, when Monica was going through the survey, she was like, I'm a little disappointed there's not more negative feedback. Not to say that, there shouldn't be or there should be, but either way, that's how we grow. Like, be honest with us. Don't be mean, but be honest with us. If you feel like there's something that would help as a group, for the group overall, the good of the whole group, we absolutely want to be aware of those things. But we'll cover more of that on our next episode. I'm really excited about the next episode that we're doing. We are going to do more than one this season, just so you know.
Yeah. The next one's going to be a blast.
Yeah. We invited a few other women that ride with us in to do kind of a round table and talk about motorcycle stuff.
Women.
Motorcycles.
And fun.
Fun, absolutely. So make sure that you keep an eye out for that. It's going to be a good time.
Yep. All right, ladies, have a great one. If you're out riding already,
I hate you.
Damn you. And if you're chomping at the bit to get out and ride, we're right there with you.
Absolutely. Don't make a bonehead mistake and get out too soon like I almost did this week. 40 degrees does not mean all of the ice is melted. And if there's ice in your driveway, then that's probably a good indication that you should.
Especially if your driveway goes like
that, like mine does. Yeah. Good thing someone has the good sense God gave a goose to say, leave your boots in the house and go put the cover back on your bike, because, yeah. Anywhooter, thanks for tuning in.
Yep. Have a great day, and we'll see you on the next episode.
See you next time.